Another incredible Super Mario Galaxy trailer has dropped and sent our hype through the roof. But did you manage to catch all the awesome things that showed up during those 30 seconds of pure excitement? Bowser Jr. was already pretty threatening in the previous trailers, but his new appearance made him look even more powerful, transforming into a blazing, fire-covered creature. Bowser Jr. doesn't have this transformation in the games, but it's impossible to see it without thinking about Fury Bowser from the game Super Mario 3D World: Bowser's Fury. That transformation appears when Bowser Jr. uses his magic paintbrush to paint his own father, so it makes perfect sense that the form Bowser Jr. uses in the movie would be the same as in that game. The difference is that instead of using it on his father, he transformed himself with the brush, which had already been shown in other trailers, even though the transformation was different there. Could this mean that Fury Bowser will appear in the movie? All of this is very impressive, but it's only the beginning, because there are 20 amazing details you missed in the new Super Mario Galaxy trailer, and today we're going to talk about every one of them. You already know, right? Another Cinewave is starting! As if that blazing mode weren't already a big enough threat, we also see that Bowser Jr. will have a fleet of spaceships, just like in the Super Mario Galaxy game. On top of that, you can spot a Bowser-themed planet being built behind those ships. The glowing crater in the middle of that planet has the same smile shape seen on the bandana Bowser Jr. wears in some scenes, so he's clearly the one building all of this. Going back to the scene of fire-powered Bowser Jr., we believe it will happen near the climax of the movie. After all, Mario's greatest enemy's son is on that very planet he built himself. At least that's what it looks like when we notice the Bowser statue in the background, where the King of the Koopas is holding his son with just one hand. Those two may be terrifying, but at least they love each other. Yoshi got some amazing moments in the last trailer, and this time was no different, because we even got to see him swallowing Kamek, the wizard who worked alongside Bowser in the first movie. Right after that, Yoshi lays an egg. Swallowing enemies and turning them into eggs is one of the dinosaur's trademark abilities in the games, and seeing that brought into the movie makes any fan emotional. Best of all, the egg comes out with Kamek's glasses on it, just to embarrass the magical Koopa even more. And that Yoshi versus Kamek fight doesn't happen just anywhere. It takes place inside Peach's castle. The carpet on the floor is the same one we see in the princess's castle. Based on how the sky looks at that moment, it's very likely this is the same scene from the first trailer where Bowser Jr. shows up to free his father, who just happens to be imprisoned inside Peach's castle. Many people believed Bowser Jr. would invade the castle alone, but it looks like he'll be accompanied by Kamek. That makes sense, since the first movie never showed the wizard being captured. We even theorized that Kamek had escaped and would help Bowser Jr. Looks like we were right, see? Even though he's known for his magic, Kamek isn't fighting Yoshi with spells in this scene. Instead, he's piloting some kind of robot. Not just any robot, but Megaleg, the same robot that fights Rosalina, as some trailer shots have already shown. Inside the control cabin, there's even a monitor showing the image of a robot identical to Megaleg. It would be way too much of a coincidence if that were a different machine. At most, it's another mech of the same model as the one that battles Rosalina. It's getting harder and harder to wait to watch this movie, right? If you're also super excited for Super Mario Galaxy, comment down below #Galaxy. Speaking of that, the chair in Megaleg's control cabin looks pretty comfortable, but that's not the only thing that stands out about it. Its buttons, which are probably used to send commands to the robot, are identical to the Super Nintendo controller, also known as the SNES, one of Nintendo's most famous video game consoles. This is the kind of reference that game adaptations love to include, and that only true fans usually catch. And you, what do you think about this kind of Easter egg? Believe it or not, that's not the only reference connected to Megaleg's chair. Besides paying tribute to the SNES controller, it also looks strangely similar to the chair used by a Super Mario character who hasn't yet been adapted to the movie universe. We're talking about Professor E. Gadd, a scientist responsible for creating several genius inventions. He's also the creator of Bowser Jr.'s magic paintbrush in the games. At this point, it's starting to feel like more than coincidence coincidence. Many fans were already theorizing that the professor could appear in this movie and be revealed as the inventor of the brush in this version as well. This chair looks like another clue that he'll show up, and that he's also Megaleg's creator here. Could the professor be getting forced by Bowser Jr. to build all these weapons? Kamek is controlling the robot in that scene, but this trailer shows that during Rosalina's fight against Megaleg, the robot explodes, and the one who goes flying out of it is Bowser Jr. Kamek flies out with him too, but in egg form. So this scene happens after the castle fight, and Kamek is still stuck in egg form. That means Bowser Jr. must be the one piloting Megaleg during the battle against Rosalina, which explains why it sounded like he was the one talking to the princess when the first trailer showed her encountering the robot. Peach and Toad are going to go through a lot in this movie while traveling through space. One of the planets they visit has a spectacular look, with a fully futuristic style that feels like cyberpunk works that don't really connect to Super Mario, like Blade Runner and even Cyberpunk 2077. It may sound wild, but we have to remember this is an Illumination production, and the studio loves adding these kinds of crazy references to keep even adult viewers engaged. Not that it would be necessary here, since plenty of adults will want to watch this movie simply because they're fans of the Italian plumber. Besides reminding people of futuristic movies like Blade Runner, this city will also make more dedicated fans think of Neo Bowser City, a track featured in the Mario Kart games. It's a place ruled by Bowser that also has a cyberpunk style look. Even more interesting is that the city seems full of Mario enemies, suggesting it could actually be Neo Bowser City, or at least a location inspired by it. Of course, Illumination and Nintendo also used the scenes in that futuristic city to include a few game-related Easter eggs. On one of the buildings, you can spot a 3D hologram of the letter N. That letter instantly reminds us of the company behind the Super Mario games, and for good reason, because it's the Nintendo 64 logo, the studio's first console with fully 3D games, where groundbreaking titles like Super Mario 64 and The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time were born. By the way, The Legend of Zelda is also getting a movie adaptation, and we're hoping it turns out just as good as the Mario films. At one point, Peach and Toad walk into a bar full of classic Mario enemies. Yeah, not exactly the best place to relax if you're one of the good guys. What's interesting is that they enter through a screen showing a pixelated image that's definitely not there by accident. It's an underwater level taken from Super Mario Bros., the very first game in the Mustached Plumbers franchise. So, have you clicked subscribe yet? If not, do it now, and stay tuned with us in every video. Among the characters that appear in the bar, several had already shown up in the previous movie, but one newcomer is Chargin' Chuck, a brute dressed like an American football player who first appeared in Super Mario World on the Super Nintendo. The character may even look kind of cute in the scene, but don't be fooled. He loves charging straight through anyone who gets in his way. You know the cage underneath Chargin' Chuck? The character inside that cage isn't something irrelevant, but rather a star bunny. These bunnies appear in the Super Mario Galaxy games, and what's interesting is that some of them aren't real bunnies at all, but actually Lumas in disguise. You know, those floating star creatures who are friends with Rosalina. Could that be the case with the little bunny trapped in the cage? And is that exactly why it's locked up? If so, Peach and Toad might discover the truth and rescue it. This trailer has so many scenes that go by so fast, it's hard to understand what's happening, especially because of how wild they are. And one of the craziest scenes is definitely the one where Peach and Toad are chasing a monkey. And here we were thinking we wouldn't see any primates, since Donkey Kong hasn't shown up at all so far. That monkey, however, has nothing to do with Donkey Kong. He's a Ukiki who first appeared in Yoshi's Island. Since then, he's only made a few minor appearances in the games. It's amazing that even these more obscure characters get a moment to shine in the Super Mario movies. Peach and Toad aren't chasing the little monkey for no reason. In fact, they're trying to get back what the Ukiki is carrying. If you can't quite see what he's holding, don't worry, we've got you covered. It's Toad's backpack. The Ukiki must have stolen it, which kicked off this entire chase. It's going to be hilarious to see this scene in full once the movie is released. Don't think we forgot about Yoshi. He didn't show up just to turn Kamek into an egg. In another scene, we see him riding a motorcycle. The dinosaur is in the desert at that moment, the same place where Mario and Luigi passed through right before meeting him. This scene could very well have happened shortly afterward. The bike didn't come out of nowhere. It's green and has an L on it, so it's definitely Luigi's motorcycle that Yoshi borrowed for some reason. Do you remember when Peach and Toad walk into a bar full of villains? If you're still not convinced that place is meant for bad people, how about taking a closer look at one of the little shops selling things inside. If you do, you'll spot a sign featuring the image of a purple mushroom. That's a poisonous mushroom found in several Mario games. Having it displayed on the poster indicates that the main product being sold there is a poisonous mushroom. That place is clearly selling illegal goods. Who's ever heard of a shop that sells poison like it's juice? This was just the beginning, because there are 2 more super fun videos on the screen. Click and keep going with us.